Okay. So as we heard, depoliticizing identity between the river and the sea and beyond. Because in Palestine, identity is being politicized. What I want to talk about is I want to discuss how identity is being politicized in Syria, for example, and also in Germany. So when we say depoliticizing identity, what we mean is to not let identity, such as in tribe, religion, ethnicity, to become the way how we determine who deserves rights and who is in power and who doesn't get the rights of a state. So a state is actually meant to function in a way that it should manage our shared needs and our conflicts as individuals in the society. What it shouldn't do is not to distribute life according to bloodlines. Yes, so when identity becomes the source of legitimacy, the rights become privileges, and politics works as just sorting instead of serving people. Communities get fractured into us and them, fighting on sources because there's no state that is really organizing who gets the rights inevitably just because of being citizens. So society becomes dysfunctional this way. It cannot work as a society, it cannot heal, it cannot move forward when it's fractured this way. Okay, so for example in Syria is ruled by authorities that have identitarian political projects. None of the authorities ruling today in Syria, or actually before too, none of them claim legitimacy through equal citizenship. This leads to us becoming minorities that hold together just because we are minorities. And by this, we accept the logic of it, the logic that is stripping us our citizenship, that is stripping us from our capacity to function as a society. And by calling us components by these authorities, as it happens, we lose our right to be Syrian citizens. And by this, I think we can also only stay minorities that are holding together. So Druze will look to Druze to get safety, and Kurds to Kurds, and Sunnis to Sunnis, and so on, Alawis to Alawis. This happens in the absence of a state, of a functioning state. People would seek protection in their oldest structures. They will look for a leader of a group, because if they cannot be protected as Syrians, as Syrian citizens, they want to be protected as Christians, or as Druze, or as Alawis, or as Kurds. Instead of being protected by laws and institutions as it should actually function, laws and institutions that guarantee rights and manage interests of its citizens. So, exactly, in the absence of the state, people would follow their leader of their own group, of the community they are in, which is based on identity. This leader is mostly a man, in most cases a man, who would say, I will protect you, follow me. Instead of having a society which is capable to lead and to push forward to our rights as citizens. So safety becomes tribal, not public. And society dissolves by this. And it also, and this is very important, it feeds all other identitarian political projects. Because having identitarian political projects adds to the justification to have even more identitarian political projects, such as the Zionist one. So the targeting of identity in absence of a state also distracts us from the reality that we are being targeted as a Syrian citizen by a new system that survives on this acceptance of us being components, and it survives on our acceptance of its imposed authority on us. So again, stripping us the capacity to fight back. It feeds on the belief that victims are being attacked based on identity. So as a Syrian, I cannot say I'm a Syrian citizen and this is why I am, this is no compass to being safe. The Assad regime actually used repression to cover up its inability to deal with Syria's social diversity, as in tribal, regional, sectarian, and also class. Also, the same thing is happening now with the current authorities. They use identity politics, identitarian politics, to conceal the same inability to function. So the solution must be a civic project, a Syrian state for all its citizens, not for components. Policies from this state that are oriented towards repairing trusting relations in this society. So again, citizenship must replace components. So if you go now to Germany, Germany has also an interesting story, identitarian story. So the German history, how and the way it dealt with with its history, is it has a big lack of dealing. It didn't really deal with it. It punished some individuals. It punished the it acted as if Nazism is not just it's just a crime itself. It was not just a crime. It was also a whole political project, a whole system that defines who belongs and who doesn't belong, and it made identity into laws and into destiny, and this never got dismantled, not in any processes that Germany had. So this idea of making identity the source of law and the source of destiny, it uses the same ideas of racial hierarchy and colonial superiority that also Europe applied outside of Europe, but this time it applied it inside of Europe. So after the war, they punished the symbols, but did not dismantle anything again. Instead of learning from it that it is the identity, the using identity as a political tool that was wrong. It turned Jewish identity into a permanent category of moral responsibility. Instead of persecution, it got to protection, but the identity kept being the frame of all this. So it extended, and it still lives today, by Germany supporting another identitarian project, political project, the Zionist one. Also, despite living in Germany for tens of years or for decades of years for some migrant groups in Germany, we still get asked, where are you actually from? And our accents get ranked as if this is a measure of how much dignity we deserve. And we are ranked as humans by how integrated we are in this society, despite being there for, again, tens of years and contributing to the society and being actually, in reality, a part of the society, having relations, contributing to it and also taking from it and everything. So it feels like dignity, or it is like as if dignity must be earned through assimilation. And it decides who belongs and who doesn't belong. This went through it again when a few weeks ago, Chancellor Friedrich Merz, used the term Stadtbild the cityscape, and he was very annoyed by the cityscapes of Germany, because it had visible immigrants, and he took the visible immigrants as a sign of disorder, and talked about this. Again, drawing the line versus us, for the line between us and them, and who deserves to be on the streets, and who is okay to be on the streets and to look like this, and who doesn't. So, no dismantling of the fucking identitarian system, identitarian political project. Media fuels this also very openly. It's known. It's always portrayed as they are the criminals, like immigrants gets reduced to the ones who do crimes, and society keeps going on treating people as outsiders. A society that keeps that since decades treating people as outsiders, in spite of them being part of the society, ignoring the fact that it's a reality that these people are part of our society. No, keeps treating them as outsiders. It does not have, it's not struggling with integration. It's not struggling with immigrants. No, what it's struggling with is its attachment to identity being the base and the measure of worth of humans. Okay, Germany. Okay, so what I want to mention is a civic state does not erase identity. This is not the point. The point is not erasing identity. It's just creating, like a civic state would create a space where identity does not determine worth. It protects everyone, because protection is a right. It's not a gift. It's not a privilege we just give to some people. And it does not ask, who are you? No, it asks, how do we build a society where every person lives with dignity and security? It asks, what do you need as a citizen from me? So, between the river and the sea, in Syria, in Europe, and far beyond, the task is the same: replacing identity-driven politics with citizenship-based politics. Moving from surviving each other, towards life. From fear towards institutions. From fragmented belonging towards collective future building. This is not only a constitutional question, it is a psychological and moral one. Can we all start imagining, can we imagine ourselves not as fragments in need of protection, but as citizens capable of building together? Because the answer to this question would shape the region, would shape the Bilad al-Sham region, and also the whole century. A future worth living will not be built by identities competing for dominance, would not be built by components. It would be built by societies that are capable of choosing dignity over fear, equal belonging over tribal security, and political life grounded in citizenship rather than blood. The work ahead is not simple. It needs a deep breath, but it is necessary. And it begins whenever we dare to imagine a state that serves all and communities that can build the trust again. We need to organize behind political projects that do not have identitarian justifications. We need to organize behind political projects that do not feed identitarian political projects. We need democratic states that are there for all their citizens. Thank you.